going to remain on the ban pool. Syndra, LeBlanc likely to follow alongside from Pain Gaming, given Kaine's recent Kaine's recent performance. And there's the Syndra. Now, Skarner, what is going to happen with that? Because typically we've been seeing the LeBlanc, the Syndra, and the Renekton from the side of Pain Gaming, but this time around, R7 have the option to leave the Skarner open, but they're not going to. Instead, they're going to ban it themselves. Lucian, I feel, has to make its way to the ban table unless they want to play it themselves.
Yeah, first pick Lucian would be something I didn't expect coming into World's Plains, but something that has defined this series. Chitan's power on that pick alongside Kuri's Nami has been devastating for R7. Jax, their final ban, they're mixing things up. They are now on the blue side. Before it was the Orianna, but Pain Gaming have done themselves a solid and got rid of it. Pain Gaming now going to remove the Lucian themselves.
So LeBlanc is open. Now, I'm not saying that you should first pick a LeBlanc.
First pick LeBlanc, you say, Veddy.
But Renekton also. Do you first pick the Renekton, though? No, instead you go for the Sejuani. I think that this makes a lot of sense. Odi has a sense of comfort and an ability to act as a frontline and more reliable engage. On the Poppy, you have good disengage tools, but they were very reliant on Leon's acting as an engage tool and ultimately punishing the mistakes on Pain Gaming. But this time, there's more agency given over to Odi. So how will Pain Gaming respond? Will they look for the early Renekton priority? Will they continue to prioritize that bot side of the map? I would be very surprised. I am surprised.
Yeah. So Jinkado incredibly comfortable on this pick. That's the important thing to note. I think he's only lost 2 games on it across the course of the year, one of those being in this series. So giving him something he's comfortable on in a game where you think he needs to be a pivotal part of your composition does make sense. But as you say, a little bit surprising considering the fact that Kaine has had his number for most of this series. The Charms, obviously, now alongside the Wukong for Carioca, can do a lot of work.
I'm wondering if Kaine thinks about going for a LeBlanc. Like, I guess you can argue that there's not really a really good matchup, like a stompy type of matchup that you could dominate on. You could go for something like an Akali, but I don't love it this early on in the draft. The Renekton makes sense for Summit, a very safe blind, knowing that they're going to have to go for the blind anyway. But do you lock in an AD carry here? No, they're just going to go for the LeBlanc. I think it makes sense. Like, early on in the matchup, very similar to every matchup that we've seen so far, is you have a lot of advantages against the Ahri in the 1 versus 1. Once she gets level 6, I think it becomes a lot more of a skill matchup. Obviously, the Charm can be a very powerful tool. But yeah, okay, so the high priority on the Ahri, like, don't get me wrong, game 2, he definitely had a lot more impact. Some of his charms still went wide, but later on to the game, he was landing those crucial picks. As a side laner, Ahri is a fantastic champion. Now, how do they round out their first half? Do they want to lock in a top laner here? Something like the Gnar for Wiser could make a lot of sense. But they're really paranoid about giving this bot laner something comfortable to have agency on, to win it on the 2 versus 2, and so they're going to take the Kalista and then ban away the Ashe. Okay, I do quite like this strategy.
The question is, where can R7 go with their bot lane? Renata's taking away Kalista. Renata, just such a powerful combination.
Nautilus next, maybe?
Nautilus as well would make sense. Even a Rel. Yeah, Kalista is so powerful. It really depends on how R7 want to play it, because you could look for something like the Ezreal and just play back, and then Rel is not as powerful because you can just play on the back foot.
One of Curry's most comfortable champions is his Alistar.
True.
And they can save that for last pick too, so they can wait and see. But he's played 5 different champions across 5 different games. Of course, the last 2 Nami games that he's played as well. He's got a lot of versatility.
Nico.
And they're going to respect that possibility as well. Curry had a fantastic performance on this champion yesterday. So what will their pick be? You have to imagine it's top lane.
I think Xante safe. Gives you isolation in a team fight as well. You can pull that Renekton out, stop him from getting onto your backline, or focus down the enemy AD or support. It's the safest blind you can pick in this situation, and with support being left for last, they are giving Curry everything he needs to succeed against whatever R7 decide to pick as their bot lane.
What will it be? maybe they just play safe. Maybe they just go for something like the Ezreal.
I wouldn't mind Ezreal Rel, I'll be honest. I don't think it's the best in terms of dominating that lane, but it gives you so much team fight later on. And if Kaney can get control of the mid lane, we've seen how well he can do when he starts to move around. Nautilus, a similar thing. Obviously, the slow from Riptide helping out, the staggering blows as well onto the Kalista. Also a denial away from that Kalista Naught we were talking about, Betty.
My brain's saying Samira could be good here. I'm like,
no,
I don't think it's going to be Samira.
That's the Dracos voice in your head right there. It's like Neela, Samira, Neela, Samira. It's obviously not going to be Rek'Sai, Varus.
I like this. Yeah, that's fine. On-hit Varus, I think, is still very strong. The problem with Varus is the amount of mobility you have to things like Wukong. It's a scary thing to play into. I think I would prefer a Rel, but maybe they're concerned about the amount of lockdown that they have. Maokai would give you a lot more utility, but the Rel is going to be the lock-in for Curry. I think this makes the most sense because even it's a champion that typically you associate with once you're in, but Kalista provides that extra bit of security for either a re-engage or to just take, in case the engage doesn't quite go the way that you want it, you can bring your support out to safety. But a lot of great team fighting tools coming out from the side of Pain Gaming. The Wukong going to scale nicely and provide that additional damage later on into the game, which means that this mid-jungle combo is going to be lethal, especially with finding picks on a side lane or just going for those early skirmishes. Meanwhile, R7, they have a lot of poke at their disposal with both LeBlanc and Varus champions that leverage Fog of War exceptionally well. They're a scary duo to face check into, especially with the Nautilus paired alongside them, with R7 having an incredibly powerful bot lane top 2 versus 2. Yeah. Renekton Sejuani is a very potent combo that we've seen multiple times. Renekton consistently denied away by the side of Pain Gaming. A lot on the line. It feels like the comfort has been given across the board, especially for these two mid laners who I think are going to be pivotal in the success of their respective teams.
And the voices
versus CB LOL fighting for that last main stage spot.
The voices of the fans echo the voices around the world. Every hope, every dream of your region lying on your shoulders right now. The Liga Latin America looking to, for the first time, make it into that world's main stage for their evolution into Americas next year. For CB LOL, 8 years in the desert. For Pain, 9. And for all these players standing on the shoulders of those who came before in their regions, looking to do them proud one last time before the Americas comes in next year, and we get to see them challenge all again under a brand new banner. Lines of scrimmage set out across the map here. Seo playing very safe back towards the tower. Looks like they put an early ward down towards that bottom lane to track if anything spicy was happening, but I doubt there's spice here, Vetty. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. It's German scharf is what this is.
In the old chat right now, Kaney and Jinkedo saying, I like you too.
And now they're going to try and beat the hell out of each other for 30 minutes. And we're here along for the ride. As you said, a rivalry between the two regions, 10-3, sorry, in favor of CB LOL across the last 10 years. LLA have been denied so many times.
I mean, it's crazy to think how many times both of these regions have come close to qualifying to the main stage and then they've been denied. To have that opportunity against one another.
I mean, for Pain Gaming, so many times they were close to representing the CB LOL and being denied. 5 finals in a row they made as an organization, always getting second place. Then at the 6th opportunity, making it through. Leon's hit, taken down to about half HP. Something that's a little overlooked in the Rel Nautilus matchup is the fact that Rel can break through your Titan's Wrath shield as the Nautilus, so you don't have that tool at your disposal to the same degree you usually would. Obviously, that means she has to have held her Shattering Strike, which is often used as a possible engage tool. Kaney here, once again, winning the mid lane matchup early on. Is a little bit of a struggle for Ahri early doors because of the mobility of the LeBlanc before level 6.
I mean, it's also just, you can't really trade against the LeBlanc. I mean, Ahri is not a good trading champion. If that hasn't become clear over the last 3 games, I'll try and make it clear to you now. She's not a great trading champion. If she connects a charm, she gets a good chunk, which is what gives her agency in lane, but that's what makes it so difficult, right, is you need to land that charm. Now, LeBlanc is going to leverage the wave to kind of navigate through leverage them as a wall so that you can't connect that charm, and you kind of have to predict when that aggression is going to come through in order to connect it. But if you throw it too early, then it makes it even easier for the LeBlanc to get a nice charm. So while it can be a skill matchup, a lot of the responsibility falls on the Ahri to be able to find those outplays as LeBlanc continues. Oh, the cannon being lost there.
It looks like Cheetah and Kuri kind of pretending that they want an early back here, coming back into the lane. You can see Seo and Leon's thinking about it. Charm does hit onto Kaney in the mid lane. Jinkato trading positively there. The hook.
Ooh. Thought he bent the bullet there.
It's one of those lollipopping situations where you're like, that shouldn't have hit me, but it ends up doing so because of the way that Nautilus Q works, and a lot of those hooks
seen
work.
That with the lines, where one line is for terrain and the other one is for champions.
And then it has a little bubble at the end, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of lollipopping. Oddie here, pushing in. Now Jinkato is down to about half HP.
And this?
I mean, Oddie might just be like, hey, mate, you don't get any of this CS. Jinkato forced away. There's the first chain landing, but Kaney just going in and immediately dying. Jinkato will follow suit. Oddie only level 3 to the level 4 of Karaoke, and now he needs to get the hell out of there. We'll leave him in the permafrost. Does have the flash. Karaoke can follow, and he still brings down the staff. PNG find 2. The dive ill-advised, I'd say.
But Jinkato played that as well as he could have, because he connects the charm once the chain has connected, because that crucially drew tower aggro onto Kaney, which meant that 2 tower shots connected. So he was trying his best to get the kill before that happened, but he wasn't able to do it, allowing them to win out on the 2 versus 2. Now the bot lane.
Looking for the engage here, so having to flash away, does still have that barrier, Ignite ticking as well. Kuri burnt both his summoners for that exchange, but as a support in this situation, you take that trade every single day, especially since the dive is beginning to materialize here for Pain Gaming, trying to put Seo and Leon's even further behind. They'll try and get the shove out. Leon's acting as that body man, that bouncer. It looks like in the end, Pain Gaming will call it off.
Kato needs to be careful about these roams. In terms of the gold being pretty even in the mid lane, the problem is, like, look at the farm, the experience. This is going to be a problem if he keeps looking for these roams, and he has to be very cautious about how much he is actually moving. Now the wave is pushing towards him, so that's the good news. But if he were to die on a dive now, it would be some very serious problems. Meanwhile, Oddie has been stealing away some camps on the top side of the map.
It's the first chain. Keynes doesn't have 2 chains yet, but will have those at his disposal relatively shortly. Kuri here. Crash downs, gets a shield. It's eaten up by the Varus. Oddie trying to trade with Karaoke again. Doesn't have the double buffs, of course, gifted those over to the Wukong earlier on, but with Kaney having the push in the mid lane. Summit under the tower. Wiser able to jump away. Summit just hit 6 off that as well, and Wiser decides that he doesn't want any more of that. Will back, then TP back in with a much fuller health bar.
Press tab and you see that mid CS diff and you are stressed. But the good news is the goal difference is not that big of a deal. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see a replay of the skirmish that happened in mid, but Jinkato did do a really good job and showcased why that charm is so crucial in the matchup. Now that he's gotten level 6, he'll have a lot more security and safety thanks to the ultimate, but Kaney, knowing how strong he is, lands the charm.
First chain. James dashes back away from Kuri. Leon's, he wants to join the fray. Hooks the minion. Sometimes you got to show him who's boss. Jinkato forced away, does have no TP and no flash, so will take a while to come back into this fight. Kuri could try and hold the wave, but I don't think that's the wisest thing to do.
I mean, look at the experience difference in mid lane now. It's basically a full level. And having this much control on the mid wave means that it's very difficult for Karaoke to really do much. He is playing towards his strong side of the map, which is the bot lane for now, as the swap did come through. Numbers advantage guaranteed for R7. Ultimately means a trade in objectives, as the gold largely stays relatively even, with advantages coming out on top and mid in favor of R7. Plate going to be secured as well. A tense affair. We talked about how these mid laners are going to be crucial for the results of the game. Kaney off to a great start. But Karaoke on this Wukong in a position to be a real threat himself. You already see that Seo doesn't have the flash available. I'm wondering if they can consider a dive in the near future. Potentially set up a stacked wave towards bot. Jinkato with a little bit more wave clear now. Not quite enough to one-shot the wave, having invested in the early magic resistance to help get him through this matchup.
The risk for Jinkedo is you don't have flash, you do have Spirit Rush, as you say, so you do have a little bit more flexibility in this, but at every opportunity, Kane is going to be trying to put you under as much pressure as possible. You can even see Leon's actually moving up from the bottom lane, having Sayo just stay underneath the tower to deny as much vision around here. Jinkedo is the target, there's a bullseye on his back, and when you use the charm like that, the chains will find their home. Kane just chipping away bit by bit until eventually that kill threat materializes.
And of course, we've been talking a lot about the mid lane because of how much action has been happening here, but the same is happening on the top side of the map. Summit has been denied this Renekton so often, but he's constantly finding good trades, building advantages. He finds himself with a pretty good lead for now.
Charm going down. Leons has to flash away. The Cyclone just short, but now a Tempest for Leons. Karaoke gets his second on the board.
Numbers advantage in the mid lane for Pain Gaming, and they turn it into a kill. Jinkedo has the ultimate, maybe connects a charm.
Looking for it, lands the charm. Curry there with the Shadowing Strike, but I don't think they have the damage to go through. Kaney turns it back down onto Jinkedo.
Let's be careful about overstaying here. One more charm will be enough to get the kill. Low mana though on
Shadowing Strike?
Didn't want to follow that one up.
Yeah, it's like, do you have enough mana for Jinkedo to actually get the kill? Will the Magnet Storm actually do anything when Kaney can just jump out? I think it was wise not to follow it up, but always the possibility that PNG would have gone more.
The kill did go over to Karaoke.
Yes.
Ideally would have gone to the Ahri, given the discrepancy that's happening in terms of the farm.
Sure, I'm sure Karaoke would say differently, but yeah.
I'm sure he would. Admittedly, though, on this Wukong, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. We already talked about the fact that Flash is really the only escape tool that Sayo is going to have. Obviously, Leon's is going to have the peel available to him as well. But yeah, I am worried for R7 in terms of how they're going to manage this Wukong. Relatively squishy in the early game, but so much team fight threat, so much backline access, and it's so easy for him to get to the backline. Too often we talk about flanks, but thanks to his W, he can be very crafty, especially when you pair that up with his E, when it comes to actually getting onto the backline.
Already looking for something down towards this bottom side. There's a ward in the tri-bush, but Curry and Cheetan are always very willing to be aggro. Glacial Prison hits only onto Curry. Fate's Call. Easy enough escape. Have to burn the flash from Cheetan. I think he burned the cleanse there as well. Summit here needs to be a little afraid of the all-out as he dashes in for a bit of damage and slices away to escape the clutches of the Cassante. Karaoke on his way up is on a ward, so he goes for that Scuttle Crab. Kaney.
Nice.
Yeah, good chunk there from Jinkedo.
I was just about to say, he's also made it through the worst of it. Right now that he's got Merc Treads and the Lost Chapter, he's feeling way more comfortable. His wave clear is a lot stronger. You'll see him melt through those caster minions now. And after starting the lane by just getting a good trade, immediately, Kaney has to alleviate some of that pressure. So good job from him. Base is going to come through, has the TP available for Kaney. I don't know if he really wants to invest it here though. As once again, Curry and Karaoke regrouping as they set their sights on a bit of deeper vision. The Grubs respawning 5 seconds. And Pain Gaming want to get their hands on it.
Pain Gaming have done a good job this series of denying R7 6 Grubs. R7 played for it in game 1. Pain Gaming came across. We see the Charm landing here alongside the Shadowing Striking. Odie was just face-checking into them. The Spirit Rush for the chase. Jinkedo looking for a little bit more as he jumps onto Kaney to do a chase to get Spirit Rush reset. Leon's trying to come in from the side, but Odie just face-checked straight into Pain Gaming, knew that they were around the Grubs and still walked into his demise. Pain Gaming will take 3 Grubs, they'll take a kill alongside it. TP behind here. Wiser needs to find a way out, pops the all-out. Kaney going in, flash away by Wiser. As Kaney now lands the chains, even with a dash away. I'm not sure with Summit tanking the tower, Wiser will be able to survive this one. Summit dashes out of tower, aggro, Kaney takes him, then flashes. And the final tower shot doesn't find its mark.
They did have to commit the flash and the TP from Kaney to at the very least get some form of cross map, but you're right, ultimately it's a 1-for-1 trade with the Grubs going in favor of Pain Gaming and a few extra plates for Summit too. He may have overstayed here, he needs to be careful. He's greeting for the extra plate, Medic!
Summit overstaying Vedi in a side lane? Who would know? Curry comes around the corner with the Shadowing Strike, the Magnet Storm coming down as well with the crash down, TP in. Pain Gaming investing a lot in this, and Summit hasn't overstayed. He'll just back away. The Drake, though, available for Pain, so...
But he has TP!
Yeah, he does. I still think the Drake just goes over to Pain, right? I think that's fine.
Especially with Kaney in top lane. I mean, Pain Gaming, the gold is an interesting one because you can see that the solo laners are giving the overall gold advantage, but this Wukong continues to get stronger. Ahri's about to complete the Malignance. Dragon being secured as well. Pain Gaming, I think, doing a really good job finding these picks, punishing the plays from R7. Summit forced to be respectful here, knowing that he's on the weak side.
Does have the flash, no dominus for him. That Renekton ultimate still on cooldown. We've seen this a few times though, Pain Gaming investing into one point of the map, trying to take these plays, trying to take the towers, and as you say, mid lane falling lower, Curry trying to escape the clutches of VOD, but meanwhile in the top lane, Kaney is just getting free push by himself. LeBlanc not the quickest tower taker in the world, as the hook lands in the mid lane, there's the depth charge to follow up. Cheetan trying to escape, but Odi puts him in the dirt. Now Curry next on the menu, Seo's gonna have to flash away because Karaoke's here for the Cyclone. The barrier, the flash, not enough to keep Seo alive. And now in a 3v2, a 4v2, Jinkedo comes in from the side with a charm and 2 fall for R7.
R7 just couldn't move. CC after CC after CC. They were permanently rooted, stunned, knocked up. And it means that Pain Gaming were able to convert some kills back after losing their AD carry. But the good news is R7's on the cross map. They secure the tower and bot lane. Plates being secured by Kaney up in top lane. Look at this, level 11 now for the LeBlanc. Overall, in terms of gold, it's R7 that propel into the lead.
About 1,000 gold ahead. 2 Drakes to Pain Gaming, though, puts them in good stead if they want to try and fight around that. Cheetan has been involved in 3 kills, but hasn't picked up any of them. I'm sure he'd like to rectify that across the next couple of minutes. A rift-held fight possibly brewing. A storm on the horizon here. Cheetan is slowed. Leons looks for the hook there, only onto Curry, who can dash away with the crash down, but that means it's going to be slow for the next couple of moments before he can remount up onto his noble steed. Odi has a habit of just starting the rift out. Here he does have a little bit of support while he does it. Jinkedo is down in the bot lane, no TP for him. Summit's going to take the top tier 1 as well. And he'll get the local goal. I mean, so it's a very good sequence for R7.
This Renekton is mega fed. He is extremely strong. He has so much gold. And it's something that Pain will have to deal with at some point. Like, sure, Weiser will be able to hold the Renekton, but in fights with the Herald now secured, things are only going to get scarier. I was concerned for R7, given that they weren't really converting these early, well, picks into really anything. It felt like the game was slowly slipping out of their hands, but now they're in full control of the objectives around the map. Pain Gaming will secure the bot lane tower themselves, but unlocking this mid-tier 1 gives you so much more access into the river, into the enemy jungle. The potential to make more plays. Kaney, we already talked about how this LeBlanc wants to try and leverage the Fog of War. Now you're going to have a much easier time doing that as the bot wave is caught. And we kind of return to a neutral map state.
Next fight, 2 minutes away, most likely, as that's when the Infernal Drake will be up and R7 kind of have to fight it. Otherwise, it's sole point for Pain Gaming. Pain Gaming, an organization that has been with the CBLOL since its inception. They were in the first ever finals of the CBLOL 10 years ago, lost to VOD, and now in a kind of a Roboros situation, they beat VOD to make it to this Worlds. 10 years since the first, now in what will be the last of the CBLOL, but of course the Americas League evolution coming next year for both North and South America. Who else but Pain Gaming to represent them, an organization and a team that has been around for so long. Cheetan and Jinkedo as well, been around for so long in Brazil. Kaney goes in, Jinkedo misses the charm. The chains don't quite connect, but Jinkedo has to invest his ultimate. A much longer cooldown than the Mimic from Kaney.
I think Kaney should have been a little quicker with the chains there, but ultimately he gets the ultimate out from Jinkedo, so small win for him, showcasing how strong the LeBlanc is in the side lane. Your job as Ahri is mainly just to wave clear and then get out. So a little overextended there from Jinkedo. Will give the opportunity for Kaney to push in bot. Seo pushing in mid. They're stacking up as 5 now. Both sides are. Deep vision control invested from R7. Hex Flash. Nope, nothing too crazy. Nice setup.
It's the Drake fight we were talking about, Veddy. TP to the bot lane. R7 trying to maintain control around this. The Sentinel spots them out. Odi able to dodge away from the Shadowing Strike, but Weiser is looking for a little bit more. Kaney here on a control ward. He'll start to step away. Drake up in 20 seconds time, and perhaps the deciding moment of this series, the deciding moment for LLA and for CBLOL. Will we see LATAM or Brazil represented once again at the World Swiss stage as Odi's caught out, the crash down, doesn't land the charm. was enough to chunk out Oddie. Now Wiser on the flank. Cheetan there as well. The hook goes down, but the Pathmaker in. All out a possibility still. Cheetan looking for that bait score, but look at the damage already. Onto Wiser. TP coming back in, and Summit is here. Yep, Croc. Summit ripping through PNG. The clone, the fate's call out. R7 get the investment of ultimates from Pain Gaming. Now they can turn their eyes back towards the Drake.
So many ults wasted on the side of R7, yet they're still able to force Pain Gaming out of the river. They secure themselves the Dragon. It will be their first of the game, and they will deny Soul Point. A very scary affair, given that Oddie used his ultimate defensively after getting caught by a charm, and then I think it was Seo's ultimate that was also then thrown into Wiser on the Cassandra, who then just brushed it off.
Yeah.
So I was really worried for R7 at the very start of the fight, but ultimately they make it work. Summit doing so much damage on the backline.
You're really feeling that 2k gold advantage. Like, Wiser melted, I think, quicker than Pain Gaming expected him to, and Summit did not. He was hard as alligator skin, you might say, as he just ripped through PNG. The Drake Soul slowed, as you say. Rainbow 7, if they can get 4 Infernals, this LeBlanc is absolutely going to kick a punch. But now the next objective, Baron in a minute 30. We'll see the resets happening from both teams. Event Horizon completed for Kaney here, alongside that Luden's companion. Oh, sorry, Horizon Focus, not Event Horizon. Completed for Kaney. He will be, dashing in, dashing out, getting that extra damage from the range on the LeBlanc. Picking up all of these Infernal Cinders as well for that extra ability. Haste dodges away from the charm. Good reactions there. It was a blind dodge. As much as a dodge can be blind, I guess, because you have to see the ability to be able to dodge it.
Good reaction.
Good reaction. I should have just stuck with the first sentence I said, Betty. Being too verbose here. Intense moments between R7 and Pain Gaming.
Maybe take a second to recognize the stakes that are on the line. The winner of this moves on to the main stage of the World Championship to compete against the best teams in the world. The loser goes home. Both teams playing safe, recognizing that, the rest of your year could be decided right now. You don't want to go home just yet. Both sides have opportunities to take control of this game. A single pick is all that's needed. Cheetan, able to get away. Isn't forced to expand any of the summoners. Second item now completed for Jinkedo. As we see, all summoners can be available very soon. TP's almost up for both mid laners.
You can see how defensive Pain have to play, right? Like, they're all the way forced back. As you say, they've got a bit of vision on Baron, so they're okay. They're comfortable enough knowing, cool, maybe they take away our Crocs. Does that really matter when they group up as 4? Spirit Rush away from Dinkedo from the Glacial Prism. Karaoke looking for that Cyclone. Seo still available off towards the backside, but Curry's looking for that flank against the Magnet Storm in. Summit coming in as well, as the base call will pull out one. Cheetan chucks him back into Kaney. The charm just wide, and Summit's on the back line now. Karaoke trying to survive, but he can't through the power of the Croc. Wiser going in with the Pathmaker all out, pulls Summit into his team, and Summit's happy to be here. Nice to meet you, Pain. He'll take 2. R7 out with only 1 dead so far. Wiser and Curry trying to survive under the safety of their tower, but that might not be too safe for too much longer. The Permafrost going off. Leon's going to tank the tower first. There's 1. Kaney takes it. There's 2. Seo joins him. R7 with a wipe under the tier 2 in top.
It's an ace, and they only lose a single member. They're going to secure the top tier 2 as well, and that may very well have been the moment that defines this series. They tried to catch Jinkedo. He reacts quickly with the ultimate, but then Pain tried to force the fight. The TP comes in, but he's very far away. As Wiser tries to find a flank. Look, this engage isn't really capitalized on. All these resources are being spent one by one, and now Summit finally joins the fray. He finds an angle onto the backline. Cheetan can't hit onto anyone, and it was just a scattered affair. While R7 were clumped up, grouped up, could focus down a single target at a time, it was Pain Gaming that couldn't quite lock anyone down. And with Wiser then delivering Summit onto the backline, R7 win a massive fight, and you can see what it means.
Leon's caught out a little bit here as the charm comes down. Glacial Prison hits onto Curry as he was looking for the engage, but with the Storm Surge coming out, PNG have found a counter kill. won't amount to much, but with Drake up in 45 seconds, it does delay the vision control that R7 could have acquired in this upcoming minute.
You can't afford to rest on your laurels, R7. You may have found a winning fight, but that doesn't mean that Pain are going to go quietly into the night. Notice Summit pushing in the top wave, has the TP available to him, as Pain Gaming continue to reclaim vision control around the river, force R7 back. He's this constant point of pressure that Pain Gaming have to deal with.
You can see 3 of them recalling right now. Vision for Curry. Doesn't have the flash, but has that Magnet Storm, and with Seo not having a flash, there's always that threat. Chitan still has the cleanse and the Fate's Call, but with the Ginsu's now complete, you can see the win probability powered by AWS starting to swing into R7's favor, and that LeBlanc is pretty deadly. Void Staff on its way. Chitan, you got no flash. You got no flash as Oddie looks for the chase. There's the slow permafrost for the stun. Summit dashing across the wall. A good Magnet Storm from Kuri will buy his AD carry a second. Summit needs to get out of here now because PNG are starting to collapse. Summit with a Ruthless Predator. Jinkato with the teleport behind. Leon's going in all on his lonesome. Kaney went in, but he was stunned immediately. And what looked like devastation for Pain Gaming is coming up in their favor. Seo is nowhere near the battle, and now Soul point available, but Baron perhaps the call.
Was it overconfidence? Was it over eagerness? Regardless of what it was, that is seriously a bad fight for R7. Losing their mid and jungler opens up the Baron as an opportunity, and Pain, they catch the throw given by R7 and are gonna swing the game just like that.
It just swings in a moment, pendulum between these two teams. The Drake will be taken by R7. They'll get their second Infernal, but I'm sure they wanted a much bigger prize. Pain Gaming down, but not out. With no Pain, there is no gain, and Pain have been through the ringer this one. But now they are within 1,000 gold of their Latin American opponents.
R7 just needed to slow down, but they kept their foot on the accelerator and they paid the price. Another tower will go down. R7, now the team on the back foot. The gold will be equalized, but look at the AD carries. Chitan sitting with a healthy advantage, and just look at the minimap here. The Varus is in mid. They think they've caught Chitan out of position, but the rest of Pain Gaming are quicker to collapse. The TP flank is so crucial as well. They just can't quite lock down this Kalista because they don't have the Sejuani ultimate. Summit's forced to retreat. Jinkato on the flank, and then watch Kaney tries to go in, gets chained, CC'd, gets shut down.
I actually think Curry remounts as Kaney comes across the wall and stuns him as soon as he lands. That's actually crazy. Maybe predicted, maybe just fortunate in terms of timing on that fight. Kaney now looking to see if there's anyone to catch out towards this top side. Baron buff remains on PNG for the next 2 minutes. But they don't really have the siege that they want. Kalista not the longest range. Ari has a little bit, but R7 able to clear out the waves. They're trying to work their way down towards bottom side.
I think they should just have Ari sit bot with the Baron buff, keep the rest pushing in mid and play between these two lanes. Ari has more than enough wave clear to just be a nuisance. They've been able to make the rotation happen. They've been here faster than R7 have, and they're gonna unlock another tower.
I think R7 willing to give that one up. You can see Seo stayed in the mid lane just to get this push out, trying to lay the next set of waves. That's what Kaney's doing in the top lane as well. But from a game that was 4K in advantage for R7, now basically even between these two teams. Almost 3K off the Red Bull Baron power play.
Still haven't broken that mid tower though.
It's true.
Pain Gaming, they really want to secure that, giving them way more access into the enemy jungle. But you're right, this basically gets to neutralize the game. We now find ourselves in an interesting situation. Chitan once again finds himself in the driver's seat. A massive threat on the Kalista. 3 items completed. If he's able to dance well in the upcoming fights, he should be able to navigate any potential backlane threat. He should be able to make fun of this Renekton, depending on how circumstances align. But then LeBlanc, Kaney, we've seen him find these one-shots before, and on the LeBlanc with 3 items, so much damage at his disposal. He could be the difference maker. Regardless, it's going to come down to another tense fight. Individual performance is going to be crucial, but this game finds itself on a knife edge, and what better way as both regions fight for a spot in the main stage.
Oddie's going to be charmed. Should be okay with this. Doesn't have the Warmogs, but Frozen Hard and Zeke's Convergence enough to keep him pretty tanky in this situation. Pain pushing through mid. They have 4, matched by Rainbow Sevens for Glacial Prison. exchanged for a Spirit Rush away, and still that mid tower stands. Caney had stepped into Fog of War, and with the waves pushing in top lane, Pain Gaming could never have been sure they weren't being flanked by the LeBlanc.
Waves will be caught. Both teams take a breather, sigh of relief, spend what gold they've been able to grab. See a large rod now secured by Caney. Likely working towards either a Zhonya's or a Death Cap, we'll see. Third item now finished. Really 3 items being completed across the board for everyone. The gold really doesn't matter, or we're getting to that, closer to that point. Again, the biggest differences between these AD carries. This Varus just doesn't quite do the same damage that this Kalista does, with a 2-level difference as well. It's going to be difficult, especially with this Cassante, level 16. We know how difficult this champion is to kill.
Everyone's got their summoners up as well, Betty. A minute before the next Inferno would be soul point for either of the teams, but not soul, importantly, if either one wants to give it up for pressure on a side lane. We've seen enough Nexus for Baron exchanges and Nexus for Drake. Always a possibility if one team out macros the other. Pain Gaming trying to regain control of their blue side quadrant here. R7 have a little bit of control for their own. Chitan, flash cleanse available, but currently his team now moves across to join him. There was a brief moment there where he was left without defenses. Summit pushing out top has the TP. Caney here, able to dash across this wall, can mimic that distortion, and then jump back. TP to the mid lane by Summit. They want to fight this Drake, Veddy.
Looks like it. I was going to say that they don't have to. They could just concede it, look to try and siege mid instead. But these teams want the third dragon of the game. TP comes through from Wiser.
He was trying to work his way down from topside to save the TP, but he just TPs in after seeing Summit walking across
Talked about
that board on the entry.
For LeBlanc once again, trying to find the angle, but Pain Gaming doing a good job of spotting that out. Chitan starting off the drag.
Charm lands down onto Caney on the bottom side. You can see he's trying to burst Jinkato out as well. Summit and Wiser towards the top. The clone coming out from the Wukong. Cyclone used, but only defensively. Another Charm's going to land, though. Sterak's enough. The Magnus Storm won't do too much, because on the backline, Curry and Wiser are getting eaten alive by Rainbow 7. Karioka, Jinkato, and Titan have 1 health bar between them. Chitan trying to escape. He's locked up by Adi, and the stun will connect. He can get 1 kill, but it won't be enough. The wave's not in a state for R7 to end immediately, but they wrested control away from Pain Gaming.
It's an ace for R7. The start of the fight looked promising, but the crowd control just didn't connect at the same time. Good damage from Jinkato onto Caney, pretty much eliminating both mid laners from the fight. But then look at Renekton, and immediately onto the backline, forces the cleanse. The ultimate comes out as well. But look now, both carries are forced to disengage. Karyok the same. And the scattered team fight from Pain Gaming mean that R7 can collect themselves. Their target focus was good. And they're able to find another ace. Dragon secured. R7 find themselves once again at the precipice of qualifying for the main stage.
Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. Just like, keep going.
That's a lot calmer than I'd be in that situation, I'll be honest. I'd be screaming bloody murder. As R7, as you say, 1 step away, 1 fight away, 3,000 gold in the lead. Curry getting hooked, Caney jumping across the wall, can't land the chains, but R7 very much on the front foot now, and perhaps a little bit too much. Jet charge coming out as well. Leon's is just deleted. He's burst down, steps into darkness, and is met with it. Curry almost falls to the chains and does to the piercing arrow, but Caney will follow suit. And as soon as you say anything good about R7, they walk into their own demise. Arnie caught out with the charm. And now it's Pain Gaming in control.
Another colossal mistake from R7. They overstep, they're over-eager. They needed to just calm down, but they just couldn't help themselves. And they walk into the meat grinder that is Pain Gaming. They find themselves 3 kills. They're gonna get another Baron. And Medic, we're back into the fold once more.
Are we sure that wasn't a replay? I'm pretty sure that happened 6 minutes ago, Betty. Obviously, Infernal Soul up in 3 minutes time for R7, but they're gonna lose so much before that. Still 14 seconds on Caney. 14-10 now on Odi. A tier 1 in the mid lane has fallen. We talked about how hard it was for Pain to break these, where they just took 2 in short succession. They'll back away afterwards with the respawns coming out from Caney and from Odi, but they still have the Baron on their backs for 2.5 minutes.
Let's look back. So again, look at the minimap. Look at the positioning of Seo and Odi. Leon's is just going in. He's just walking like this jungle belongs to him. It doesn't, buddy. I know you feel strong right now, but as well, Kaney getting locked up by Curry's ultimate. And then the charm connects from Jinkado, a crucial pick. And then Oddie just tries to come afterwards to only then get locked down himself. Just a massive overstep. I mean, now the Baron buff sits in the hands of R7.
No one's defending mid. This is mid inhib.
They've got, yeah, I mean, it's gone.
It's gone. They're trying to get back in time. It looks like they were trying to push out the side lanes, but they neglected the mid lane. Mid inhib tower gone. There's a possible TP from Kaney, but he doesn't really have any wards to go to apart from on the top side. PNG now walking down towards the bottom. Curry pops the blast cone and gets himself out. Kaney now joining up with his teammates. Importantly, the mid inhib yet to fall, but with a minute and a half still left on that Baron. You think it's going to fall quite sharpish. Summit trying to deal with Weiser. Karaoke just shadowing between the lanes. Leon's there on the front line. Kaney jumping in just to get the cannon minion. Jinkado goes in, hit with the Glacial Prism, but is able to get out in time. R7, they've overstepped in this position, but before we saw as well that Pain Gaming were able to disengage in time. Kaney looks for another chain, can't land it. TP now in, a hook lands, only onto the clone. TP stopped by Summit in the mid lane. This inhibitor tower falling lower. Base call going in, Sail pops a stopwatch, and Curry's in the middle of them all. The dead charge coming in as well as Kaney tries to put the damage down. Cheat down on the back line, dodges away from the distortion, but the Ignite is ticking. Karaoke's taking out Oddie, Curry falling low, Summit on the back line, Jinkado falling lower. And R7 somehow, some miraculous way, have finally found a fight that might end the game in their favor.
Is it enough? Double TP into the top lane. Weiser is still alive, but R7, they find another massive fight.
Weiser can just go for the wave. Who cares about your life? If you can stop this from pushing in, he'll stop them. The chains land, but he's tanking up with the Kainic Rukan.
They don't have a wave. Oh my goodness. Absolute chaos.
It's cinema, Betty. This is what you pay for. This is what you get your popcorn out for. This is what keeps you glued to your seat. It is cinema, and you can tell just how much it means for R7 and for Pain Gaming to be the representatives for your region. The LLA have never had this opportunity. Well, they've had the opportunity. They've never made it to the Swiss stage. For CBLOL, it has been 8 long years. For Pain, it's been 9. Infernal Drake up in 19 seconds time, Betty. What we got in terms of summoners.
Into the Pentagon we go, Medic.
Cheetan still has his flash, has that face call. No flash for Sail, no flash for Kaney. Jinkado has a Rabadons. Will absolutely melt through you, but doesn't have that summoner at his disposal. R7 trying to get control here. There's a flanker. Summit is fighting against Weiser. Kaney jumping in, looking for the damage. Leon's here as well. Summit in the middle of them. There's the Magnet Storm, and Summit's already down to half HP. He tries to jump on to the back line. Cheetan falling lower. Summit's doing so much work, but he can't quite get the damage. Cheetan caught up with that Hexdrinker shield. He still manages to survive, and R7 have lost one. Pain Gaming healthy enough to continue this fight. They might just take the Drake. I think R7 will give up the Ghost on it. It's not sold for Pain. But it's more action, it's more fighting between these two juggernauts.
I mean, we've reached the point where Renekton now just has a much harder time playing the game.
Yeah.
So far, Summit has been consistently getting on top of Cheetan and making his life exceptionally difficult. But now with all these extra resistances coming through for him, it's harder to just straight up dive him and one-shot him. This time around, Cheetan is able to navigate his way through the fight. He takes out Summit. And now we're all tied up in Drakes.
And tied up in gold. 36 minutes in, 6 Drakes taken, 66.6 thousand gold for PNG, and R7 about to crest that mark as well. Cheetan burnt his flash in that last engage. Does still have, well, the cleanse back up in about 30 seconds time.
Not a Zhonya's for the Varus.
Yep, he used it in the bot lane play with the Seekers. He managed to survive the engage from the Fates call. It kept him alive.
My goodness, I'm now getting lost. There's so much happening. I need to lock in, focus up as we get closer to the game-deciding fight. Baron spawning, 45 seconds. The gold really doesn't mean much at this point as itemization is largely completed across the board. See a pot sitting in Oddie's inventory, waiting for the next fight to begin.
Yeah, Elixir of Iron, his beverage of choice. So he'll chug that before the fight begins, as you say. Look at Oddie, though, on a good flank here. If Pain Gaming back away, in an inopportune moment. Oddie can find them, hasn't been seen yet. He's trying to go for that long flank. Karaoke trying to spot him out, doesn't. Oddie's on his lonesome here behind the team, though. Backs away, the charm lands onto Summit.
Nice damage on the Summit.
Kaney chunks out Cheetan.
Nice damage under Cheetan. Okay, so low health members.
Kaney's half HP as well, though. Jinkado looking for that charm. It lands onto Oddie. Pop the elixir. The root coming out as well as he's locked up in the middle of the team. Kuri pulled back with a face call. Summit diving in onto Cheetan. The more of Malmortius, the depth charge going onto that backline. Kuri falling over. Cheetan's already killed off Summit, and Kuri's been able to survive. It's 2 already for Pain Gaming. Depth charge coming out. Sayer, you gotta do it all. Sayer, you gotta do it all. But he can do nothing in the face of Pain Gaming, and now Kaney trying to get in, trying to kill off one. Can he defend? I think the answer's no.
They don't have a wave to play with. Oh! Kaney gets a crucial pick right at the edge. Pain Gaming win a fight, but now with Cheetan gone, I don't know if they can end the game.
It may just be the inhib. They shadow the wave in ready. Kaney.
I think they're going to try and end.
This guy has had the planes of his life. He's been the cornerstone of R7, and now he has to do it once again. They may just look for double inhibs. In fact, I think that's the call here from Pain.
It's the smarter one. It's for sure the smarter one.
Kaney dodges the charm, doesn't hit the chains. The double inhibs go over to Pain. Now the Baron up.
Oh my goodness. So Kaney keeps R7 just barely alive. But that last fight was absolutely insane. So R7 just got poked out. Summit got cut in half. Kaney got cut in half. And Seo, he just couldn't fight. He couldn't really hit anyone in the fight. So there was such a massive damage difference. R7 have been finding so many good team fights in this game. But Pain Gaming, it feels like, as we've gotten later, have found the confidence. They know how to play the fights now. And it's only getting harder. Summit's not having the same impact that he was earlier in the game with a Bloodthirster now finished for Cheetan. He is completely full build.
And R7 have to manage their waves. There's double TP available for Pain. If they ever push out, if they ever get caught in a fight, all Pain have to do is delay, delay, delay. So far, R7 have tried to take a mile on multiple occasions, and Pain have only given them an inch. Now they give them nothing. Deny them control over the mid-wave, deny them control over the river. They managed to pick up the Scuttle Crab, but that's about it here for R7. Tournament lives on the line. Oddie stepping forward, Charm going wide, Banshee's available for Jinkado. Shadowing Strike going wide as well, but Summit invests the Ruthless Predator onto a ward, plays out that control. R7 is 5, try to group up here and push it out once again. Summit
really nice
chunked out to half again. They can't get the control ward in the back of the pit. They can't get control over the
now. He has
Baron.
to base.
Yeah, he does. No TP on him.
Yeah.
He has the Sterak's. He can cull the Meek on this wave, try and get the Ferocity stacks up. But he's still half HP. Maybe over to the Razor Beaks to use that Fury.
And here comes the Soul. He needs to base sooner rather than later. It's going to be too late. I guess he's just doing his best to heal up, and he's just going to play with this HP.
He was spotted by that Scryer's Bloom. Karaoke hungry for blood. Sharks in the water. Pain Gaming start to collapse. Kaney's pushing out the bot lane. Summit still about half HP.
I mean, this is such a hard approach from R7 with mid and bot constantly pushing in your face. Jinkado doing a good job of leveraging the fog. And here we go.
For the flank.
The Soul could determine everything.
Remember, Callista Spear is something we haven't had to talk about too much this game, but it's so hard to outsmite that. Kaney looking for it. Look how many spears are in there. Infernal Soul secured. Cheetan gets the face call and flashes forward. Kuri can't quite land the lockup. Meanwhile, on the backside, Summit doing so much work onto Wiser. Pain Gaming got the Soul, but they've already lost one of their players. Perhaps R7 can chase for more. The base, super minions pushing in towards those Nexus towers. And it looks like R7 won't get more out of the battle. Kaney backing away. Cheetan's down towards the bottom side. He's looking for the base, seeing if anyone gets the back off in time. Can't get there before Kaney does. The Nexus tower stands. Oddie chasing out Kuri. Leon's here with the blast cone. Will be able to find the flank, and Kuri won't have a way out of this. Summit's going to block his path. Baron wasn't started actually by PNG for a second. They'll just dash out. Kuri's going to fall. And now R7 can look for the Baron. Cheetan was looking, perhaps if they go for the Baron, we can go for the flank. But Kaney still has that TP. A steal for Karaoke, a possibility. No flash on him, up in a couple of seconds' time. They're not going to go for it. The Baron, the first one of the game for R7, secured. It's taken 3, but they got one. And now,
my goodness. We go again!
We go again, baby! We go again. I didn't hear no bell.
What better way to determine a spot in the main stage than with a game like this? We crest 42 minutes, 42 kills. The goal is dead even, but it doesn't matter. Items being completed, it's all about the execution. The Elder, now the next big objective. The Soul is going to help, obviously, but we've seen that these fights play out in so many different ways. The reason why it fell apart for Pain Gaming in the last fight is because PNG, Cheetan and Curry hard committed onto Kaney. I'm losing my words.
It's fine.
And that meant that a lot of their damage just disappeared. You need him in the fight, especially this late in the game. AD carries are so important, and that meant that when it came to a front-to-back fight, Sayo was just able to get the better. They took down Wiser, and they were able to convert it into a Baron.
A couple of flank wards here left up for Pain Gaming. You can see 3 of them, one in that tri-bush. If R7 overextend without clearing out, well, the tri-bush one is gone, but there's a couple just behind. If R7 just overextend here, Wiser can TP flank, Jinkado can do the same. We saw do it earlier this game. Someone's going to push out mid. The Baron remains for 1:40. Hopes of a region on the backs of these players. The last representatives of the LLA and the CBLOL here at Worlds. One last dance, you might say, as Kuri's chunked out. The damage from Keeney would be even more if those chains had connected. Kuri's going to have to back away. Cannon minion pushing in, with the rest of the wave culled by PNG. R7 trying to sync their waves up, but can't quite do it. Just that cannon minion in the bottom lane. Kaney still looking for something, jumps onto Kuri once again. The Shadowing Strike and the Crash Down invested, but they'll be back up in short order. Kaney still trying to play out of vision. They do have a single Oracles on Leon's if he wants to invest it, but decides against it for the moment. There's the TP, the ward we talked about, but you can see that because it's a control ward. Chain of Corruption coming out. Wiser trying to get onto the backline. The Depth Charge going to slow them. The Magna Storm going in as well, but Karaoke and Kuri and Wiser are all amidst Rainbow 7. They managed to kill off Sayo somehow, and now Lions is all hailing the retreat. Kaney's down. Pain Gaming find the flank they were looking for. Odi trying to get out of here. Summit's killed off Kuri, but Cheetan and Wiser will get revenge for their support. Now Odi falls. 60 seconds on the Death Chimers. Waves can be pushed in, inhibitors broken, and perhaps the backs of Rainbow 7 too.
An incredible TP flank may have cemented the win for Pain Gaming. CBLOL are looking to return to the main stage. There's only a Nautilus standing between them. The inhibitors are still there, but maybe they're too far away. He just has to buy time. Can Leon's buy enough time for his team to respawn?
17 seconds on Kaney. 15 on Sayo. A cannon minion, 3 casters, and a dream for Pain Gaming. They immediately engage, and Leons cannot get to the wave. Pain Gaming have done it. 10 years ago, they were denied, and now after 8 years in the desert, Pain are going to Swiss.
An incredible back and forth game. Both teams putting everything on the line. But ultimately it was Pain Gaming that was able to find the final team fight. Heartbreak for LLA, but celebrations for CBLOL.
Elation for CBLOL. Elation for CBLOL. 8 years ago, INTZ were the last Brazilian representatives in the main stage at World. Now Pain joined them after having been in the league for 10 years, after losing in the first finals, defeating their decade-long rivals in this, to make it here, to take down the LLA. Of course, commiserations to R7. They were so close so many times in this game. It looked like it was done. It looked like they'd secured the win. But they fall at that final hurdle, and Pain will take the prize at the finish line. A position in Swiss for R7. Dejection, but still hope as a region. Still some pride to be taken in how well they fought here at this Worlds.
I mean, I understand how frustrating it must feel to not only take down the North American representatives, but then to go so close against Pain Gaming, a rival in the play-in stage, to then just falling short at the final hurdle. Must be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be.
But I really do feel that they did their region proud. the most winningest organization of the LLA. An organization that has dominated for so long. Had a